Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, it just seems like there's a changing of the tide or something to that effect. I don't know what's going on. But just 12, 18 months ago, Gervonta Davis was perceived as a guy who had not fought the stiffest competition, that had avoided fighting the stiffest competition, who was coddled supposedly, to now, from a couple of Hall of Famers, the favorite, it seems, versus a Shakur Stevenson. Now, who am I talking about? I'm talking about my new favorite boxing analyst, Timothy Bradley. I've been critical on Timothy Bradley on this platform, but Tim has been bringing the heat lately.
Yeah,
And he's talking about things that we have seen probably a couple of fights ago relative to Shakur Stevenson in regards to being overly cautious, not letting his hands go, and with that being the case, not being able to win a fight on the scorecards against Gervonta Davis, and if he makes a mistake, he'll get caught and dropped. Well, recently, I think this was yesterday, right? We heard from Roy Jones Jr., one of my favorite fighters, my top three favorite fighters, along with James Toney and Floyd Mayweather. And I believe he was on All of the Smoke. And he talked about Gervonta Davis. And he talked about Tank being the complete package, the guy that has the high IQ, the guy that can box, the guy that has the power. He is a complete package. And I think what Roy is impressed with is the fact that that's how Roy pretty much fought. When Roy was in his athletic prime, I won't say that Roy was the most, like he was as skilled as like a Floyd Mayweather or James Toney. But it's in terms of reflexes, power,
the
IQ,
reflexes for sure.
all those things, he had those things in abundance, and he's seeing the same thing in Gervonta Davis. And so I like how these guys are now starting to see the light. Now, before, when we were picking Errol Spence, everybody kept talking to us about the experts, everybody picking them. So I wonder now if they're going to change their stance, because I feel like this aura of invincibility relative to Shakur Stevenson is primarily driven by his association with Terrence Crawford. And almost through
Exactly.
osmosis, he is as good as Crawford. And I don't see that. So I feel like a lot of these guys are now starting to come to the light, and they're starting to see what we saw, which is there's an opportunity there for Tank to absolutely win that fight. I've always leaned toward Tank to win that
In
fight.
multiple ways too.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Shakur's going to be a tough fight. Shakur's a tough fight. Just stylistically, he's not going to give you many openings to punch. But I don't think Tank needs that many openings. Honestly, I don't. I think he's so quick and so explosive that if you make a mistake or you leave a gap in there, he's going to be able to take advantage of it. So I'm curious to see what happens. I can't wait to see what happens. But I'm just more so curious to see how people respond and react to some of these comments that are coming from these Hall of Famers. And I think there's probably going to be more to come in regards to people changing their mind in regards to who win that
Yeah.
fight. So, Jay, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, the seeing everything that we've been telling people about. I mean, I think the biggest thing with Shakur right now is you hit the nail on the head earlier by saying it's the affiliation with Bud. They want to go with anything that's Bud or Bud supports. They want to support wholeheartedly, and I get it. But you gotta be real, man. Shakur talked like he got them that thigh out on both his hands. He don't got it in neither hand like that. you know. So I mean, the fact that someone like Tim Bradley, he says it's a 50-50 fight, but before he was selling out saying Shakur is going to beat the mess out of Tank. He's going to put him a boxing clinic. He's going to do all this stuff here. But now he's seen the light. He's like, oh, Shakur don't really like fighting punchers. Tank is a puncher. Oh yeah, Tank has a high IQ. He's also very agile and very setting traps. He's good at setting traps in the ring too. Uh-oh. Shakur's gonna be in. Shakur's going. He's gonna have a harder time than I thought. You know, I mean, and Roy just put it out there. They asked him about the four kings. Who's out of four kings? Ryan, Devin, Shakur, and Tank. He's like, Tank's the best of them. He's like, you got some people that can punch but don't have a boxing IQ. You got some people that have the boxing IQ, that have the boxing IQ but can't punch. He says Tank has it all. Lateral movement, the whole nine, setting traps. I mean, it's about time people started giving Tank his just due. They say, oh, he hasn't fought anyone. He's beating people in multiple ways. undefeated fighters, champions all over the place. But they neglect that all the time just because it's Tank, and Tank is PBC. That's also another reason they hate on Tank. But this right here, I'm like the fact that people are seeing this. Not saying that like we even when we said about Spence and Bud, it wasn't 100% one fighter is going to beat the other. It's a good fight. Tank Shakur, it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a chess match. We're going to see what Shakur wants to do against someone that got power, that can definitely cut the ring off and has just as good as an IQ as him, but also has that power in both hands. And he's athletic. And also, Tank is a killer. That's what Shakur likes. Shakur likes that killer mentality. He's not Bud. He can be around Bud all he wants. He doesn't do that. When Bud sees an opening, Bud goes for it. Tank sees an opening, he goes for it. Shakur, he steps back. He gets the hell up out of Dodge. And he just does a whole little jab, 1-2. That's what he does. So I like the fact that these Hall of Famers are actually backing us and saying what we see. So we'll see how these people move those goalposts, because before it was all good when the Hall of Famers backed them. Now they're backing us. It's a different story.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how people will change. I can't wait to see this fight. I think the fight is going to happen. I think Gervonta Davis' side, they have every bit of confidence required to make that fight and win it.
Yep.
Tank has a tough fight ahead of him in Lomachenko. Lomachenko is still going to be a live dog. He won't get the credit that he deserves for beating Lomachenko, although Lomachenko is roughly 2 years removed from fighting Devin Haney. And they gave Devin full credit for fighting Lomachenko, even though he didn't have a title.
Yeah.
And we are about 1 year removed from Shakur Stevenson requesting the opportunity to fight Lomachenko, and they would have given him full credit. So it's so interesting how things change. But I'm glad that people are now starting to see what Tank truly is. And Tim Bradley is saying it looks like Tank is on a mission, man, to be that number one guy at 135 pounds, to be undisputed. Personally, I just think Tank is on a mission to complete that 6 to 7 fight deal. And he knows that he's going to have to go through those names that make sense, where he's going to earn the requisite dollars that he's looking for. So that is his motivation. I think once Tank is done with his 6 and 7 fight deal, I think he's done, period. Because he's always talked about.
He's already said it.
Yeah, he's talked about he doesn't want to retire, or he wants to retire young in the sport. So I think he's going to run this gauntlet, do his thing, and retire. So you guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to what Tim Bradley has said here again recently. I believe that was on Cigar Talk, and what Roy Jones had to say in regards to Gervonta Davis versus Shakur Stevenson on All the Smoke. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast at M Sports Media, and we are out.